Hey, and welcome to this video of What's in the Box. I'm going to be taking a look at the brand new Tempest of War cards from Games Workshop. So a massive thank you to Games Workshop for sending us this product. So Stephen from Vanguard Tactics, I'm joined by Michael. How you doing, Michael?
Yeah, all right. This looks oddly like maybe a deck of cards.
It is a deck of cards from a past long ago. It's bringing back some nostalgia. For many of you may remember the Maelstrom of War cards and also Open War. I think we're going to really explore what's actually inside this box during this video, and also some ways in which these are going to be rolled out and played. Now, we obviously typically focus on more competitive side of the game, so we are going to be looking through this pack of cards with a little bit more of a competitive, fair, balanced mindset and viewpoint. Okay, so please take that on mind, but we are going to explore what's inside it, and obviously we do encourage you to play whatever style of game that you want to play, whether it's casual, narrative, competitive. As long as you're picking up the toy soldiers, moving them around and having a great time, then that's what we are about. So let's go through what's inside first of all. Now, we have already opened this because obviously myself and Michael wanted to read through and have a little look so we could explore this in a little bit more detail. So when you first open the box, you first of all got the little rule pack. So Michael, just quickly talk us through roughly what this is as a rule set.
So this is very similar to chapter approveds or any set of missions that in the current edition. It's going to go through the step-by-step process to how you start a game. Now this is going to be obviously using these cards, so there's a few extra bits in here on how to use the cards, separating the decks, which player gets what, etc.
Yeah, and we'll summarise what you actually get and how this whole thing works, okay? Yeah. So you don't need to worry about reading that. We will hopefully go over absolutely everything for you. So then when you actually take the cards out, you're going to notice it's quite, they're much larger than they have been before. Typically they were like much smaller sort of size, so they are much larger. So the first thing that you notice that you get 6 objective marker tokens. Obviously it can be used either way, quite nice, obviously perfect for whatever sort of side of game you're playing. They obviously just pop those out, and they do look quite good. Then what we've got here is a pack of cards that is split then in different sections, right? So the first one that you get is a command point. It's a stratagem, isn't it? It's a core stratagem. It's called New Orders. Use this stratagem at the end of your command phase. Select one of your active secondary missions and discard it. Generate one new secondary mission. Okay, so we're going to go over. So each player gets access to that stratagem, don't they?
Yes.
And obviously you've got basically, you'll notice with the cards, you've got a red player's cards and a grey player's card. So you each get that same stratagem. Then we're on to the next part of the deck. Now this next part is all about getting the game actually started.
Yeah.
So you've got a series of deployments. So we'll just move these out of the way.
And these will look very familiar to you if you've played the recent chapter approved. Some of them will look perhaps a little odd as well. What is important is you'll notice that there aren't any measurements for some of these deployment zones. So some of them with the triangles, there aren't any measurements, but it is quite easy to see that you go to sort of the middle of the board there from a corner. And they're very interesting. We do see, I think, 4 of these normally in our chapter approved match play. Yeah,
and there's these 2 kind of new ones, which is quite interesting. I do really like the way they look, and they do look quite cool. So how this works, guys, first of all, is when you obviously open the deck, what you're going to do is obviously shuffle these up, and you're going to simply go, cool. Michael, you and I, we are playing
Search and Destroy.
Search and Destroy. Okay, so we know who's the attacker and defenders, markers, whatever, and that's the sort of deployment that we're going to play. And this is how it's going to be intended. We're then going to go over maybe some different tweaks that you could use for this pack as well if you wanted to mix it up. So then the next pack or the next section of cards that you're going to get is basically all of the primary missions, okay? So you've got the primary missions here. You've got, for example, Take and Hold. You've got Direct Assault, Priority Targets, Vital Ground, Burn and Raze, and Claim the Battlefield. And again, with these, what you can do is then just read through it. For example, let's say we would divide all these up. What we would do is just shuffle all these up. And you and me, Michael, are playing obviously we already know that we're playing Search and Destroy map,
Yep.
but we're also going to play Vital Ground, okay? So in the second, third and fourth battle play at the start of each command phase, whoever's turn it's taking place, if they control the objective marker in their own deployment zone, they score 3. If they control the marker in no man's land, they score 4. And if they control the objective marker in their opponents, they score 5 points, okay? And that's turns 2, 3 and 4. And in the fifth battle round, if the player is the first turn, basically they score this, okay? And if you've gone second turn, you score for each of that they satisfy as well, okay?
Yeah.
But that's at the end of the turn. So one scores at the start, one scores at the end.
Yeah.
And then in every battle round, each player scores 1 victory point for each enemy unit that was destroyed.
Okay.
So there's your mission, okay? Nice and simple. So we know we're playing Search and Destroy, but we're playing Vital Ground mission. And then what we're going to do is you get what we call a mission quirk. We call them that, but it's actually a mission rule, all right? And again, a series of cards. And there's quite a lot here, as you can see, quite a big pack. And each of these are going to make all of your missions feel really individual.
Yeah.
So for example, we are going to play Maelstrom of Battle, shuffle the remaining cards in the mission rule deck, and then draw 2 new mission rules. So we'd actually now discard this one and draw 2 more. So that's what we would be playing. We're playing Warp Lightning Storms in this mission. At the start of every psychic phase, each player must roll a d6 for each of their units within range of 1 or more objectives. On a 1, you suffer a mortal wound.
Okay, very interesting.
It's not nice. Secret intel. In this mission, a player only receives a battle forward CP at the start of their command phase if their warlord is on the battlefield or embarked on a transport that is on the battlefield.
Yeah, and this is one that is actually in the current chapter approved.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you've got the deployment, you know what your primary mission is, and then you now know what your mission rule is, or mission quirk as we call it, okay? So you then obviously put all the others to one side. So you've got your kind of 3 decks there out in front. And then each player gets a series of secondary objectives. So you would have a red pack.
Thank you.
I'd have the blue pack. And when do we obviously shuffle these up? These are your secondary objectives. So you're not going to pick secondaries. What you're going to do is literally draw from this pack instead.
Yes.
Michael, when do we draw cards?
So this is big. Obviously, normally you'd pick your secondaries at the start of the game and you declare them to your opponent, and then that's how you score throughout the entire game. In this, the start of your own command phase.
Cool. So it's my turn.
Yeah.
My command phase. I'm going to draw how many?
Up to 3.
Cool. Up to 3.
Up to 3.
Well, I'm going to draw 3 then.
Yes.
I want all the amount.
You need to have 3 in your hand at the at the end of your command phase, basically.
Yeah. And if you've already got 3 in your hand, you can't pick another
That's
3. You
right.
can only ever have 3 in your hand.
Exactly.
So I've got extend battle lines, I've got capture enemy outpost, and I've got secure no man's land. Okay. So capture enemy outpost. This secondary mission is achieved at the end of your turn if you control the objective marker in your opponent's deployment zone. It's quite a tough one.
Yeah.
Secure no man's land. At the end of your turn, if you control 2 or more objectives in no man's land. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Nice. And there's something about if you've only got 1 unit remaining, and then extend battle lines. This secondary is achieved at the end of your turn if you control the objective marker in your own deployment zone, and you also control 1 or more objectives in no man's land. So actually, these stack quite well.
Yes.
That was a good draw from me there.
Now, if a card doesn't tell you how many points you get from it, the little rules pack does say you get 5 if you achieve it.
5 big points.
Yes.
Very nice.
And the secondaries are still capped at 45 per player, so that's 45, and then you've got your 45 for the primary, which is the other deck that we've just shown you.
Yeah.
And then you get your 10 for battle ready.
Nice. So if I got all of these, big 15 points turn.
Well,
nice.
depends on the cards.
Depends on the card,
Yes.
of course. Yeah. Yeah, love it. Because it does say you might only score 2 points, for example. If you
Exactly.
only, so there are some little
Some might be easier.
elements there. So, Michael, we know how I draw them. So what if I get to the end of the turn and I've got, I've done 1 of these, okay, I've got 5 points. These 2, I'm never going to be able to grab the one in your deployment zone. Can I get rid of these?
Yes, so you can get rid of any of the cards in your hand at the end of your turn, okay? That's
Straight
really,
in.
really important. So it's not just limited to 1. You're not going to be stuck with a card that you can't do all game. Just get rid of them all and then draw brand new ones next turn.
And I just put them, obviously, to one side. They need to go in a discard pile.
Yeah, you can't redraw them. Another really important thing to note is if you do somehow run out of cards to draw, that's it. You can't score any more secondary points.
So don't put them at the bottom, put them to one side.
Exactly.
Cool, nice. And obviously we've got that stratagem which says use a stratagem at the end of your command phase. So if you do your 3 and you really don't like area denial or assassinate, you can spend a CP, get rid of assassinate, and bring in grind them down instead, for example. Okay, like it. Cool. So there's a couple of things, right? When it comes to, when we look at the maps, it doesn't tell us where to place objectives.
No.
So how do we place objectives in this game?
So, as per the little rules pack that comes with the box, what we're going to do is we're going to have 5 objectives per mission. Okay? Yep. And then, and this is an interesting quirk of the rules pack, starting with the youngest player.
That's me then.
You alternate placing these 5 objectives. Okay? Now, 2 of them must be wholly within each respective player's deployment zone, and the rest must be wholly within no man's land. None of them can be within 6 of a board edge or within 9 inches of another objective marker.
Okay, cool. So I've got our 5 objectives here. You're unfortunately younger than I am.
Unfortunately.
We're on search and destroy here. You can have the red zone.
Cool.
You place the first one, what, in no man's land?
So if we imagine this is our sort of
table,
I'll place the first one. I'd probably put it in my deployment zone.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Right.
So that's the one in your deployment zone. One also has to go in my deployment zone, right?
Yeah. Cool. And then I'll just put one over here. We can imagine it's more than 9
from another
6 from the board edge.
So 6 from the board edge, 9 from that one.
Yeah.
I then need to put one in no man's land as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to go just over there.
Cool.
And then you're going to place the third one
over here.
Wow, that's not very fair, mate. You've got 4 near you.
Right. So I think this brings us to maybe one of our talking points from a balance perspective, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
What would you suggest we do to avoid a situation like this happening? Because obviously I've got all of these objectives right next to me. Yeah. I'm going to be more likely to score my cards and the primary mission. So how can we avoid this?
Yeah, so again, it depends how you want to play, right? If you just want a funsy pickup game, but some people might abuse this.
Yeah.
You know, and I might have just placed this one over here thinking, oh, it'll be quite good to have one over there, and you put one in the middle, and all of a sudden, you know, really, if you're playing fairly, maybe you put that over there, and now we've got a much nicer spread.
Yeah.
But you're a cheesemonger, and you've chucked it over there, now we've got a bit of a problem on our game, yeah? Right. You're the younger player, but, you know, also obviously trying to cheese this one out. Okay, so a couple of things that you can do. Is we could, if we know, now there is a card which stipulates you are going to place another objective on the table, and obviously that would then be me.
Yeah.
All right? But if you're not playing that mission, most of them, or you're not going to draw that card, most of them you're in a 5 scenario game.
Yeah.
So what you could do is say, look, one in no man's land for each player, and one always goes in the centre of the battlefield. Yep.
Seems fair.
Seems pretty straightforward. Then you place one, I place one.
Cool.
Does kind of, you know, you could do different formations with that.
Yeah.
You know, obviously depending on the deployment, you know, you could end up with some really cool, interesting formations. So one could always go in the middle.
Yeah.
The other way that I think you could probably do this as well is you could actually, instead of maybe using the cards, you could roll. If you wanted to combine the two together, you could roll, whether you're playing incursion or strike force, whatever the mission is. So we've got, for example, here, we've got recover the relics we've just rolled. Okay, and obviously we've got the map here and where the objectives go. Yeah. So you could just literally set up and play, recover the relics right out of the book. You could, if you wanted, do a random mission quirk. Yeah. And not use the mission rules from here. Or what you could do is use it directly from here, but you just use the cards instead of secondary picking. Yeah. So you can start to manipulate both of these things. Yeah. All right, so you could either just use the maps from in here, you could use the maps from here. And again, there's nothing wrong with saying, look, you know, or you could just simply have it as a roll-off rather than the younger player. Because if you're always playing against the same person, your age doesn't really change too much.
And if we're honest, guys, there are some cases where a younger person might have more experience. Maybe someone's kid started playing the game and then their parents got involved. You know?
Well, it might just be like, you know, your friend that has just been playing longer than you, right? And, you know, having that, placing that third objective gives you a little bit of power balance. Yeah. So use that with a grain of salt, I would. And that would be the one change that I would make. Yeah. especially when we sort of play this on the channel, because I think we probably will at some point.
Oh, definitely.
You know, maybe we do just have one in the middle.
Yeah.
And we see where we're at. Or we roll to see, we draw the card first, and if we draw the additional objective, we can go place them wherever because it's completely fair. Or the other option is you always roll out 6 objectives.
Yeah.
And what you could then do is you could roll out 6 objectives, and if you drew that card which says place another,
just redraw.
You could either redraw it or roll a dice and randomise all the ones in no man's land, and that one's removed from the game. You've got options. Pretty cool. We just come up with some straight off the cuff there.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. So you can use the cards as they are. You could use the deployment maps and the objectives set up from the book.
Yep.
You could even use the deployment cards, and then the objective set up from a different mission.
You could.
So you could have like search and destroy the quarters,
Yep.
and then have something like from, say, data scry salvage, where they're all across the board. So yeah, there's loads of options here.
Yeah, and I think that's the great thing about this card deck is it doesn't have to be a hard or fast like this book is. You play it exactly at the book. I think this, you know, especially with these cards, in terms of probably the way that they're intended to be played.
Yeah.
You know, keep it friendly, keep it casual, but also keep it fair, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So we really hope you enjoyed this video. And yeah, massive thank you for all of you that are checking us out. So if you do like these videos, give us a like and make sure you subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you on our next live stream, perhaps on a Wednesday night, where you can see myself, Michael, Jake, and Nicole and the crew playing some epic 40k games. We will be rocking out the Tempest of War cards. And if you do want to see us play these on stream, let us know in the comments below.
I want to play them.
Let us know. Just comment, play the cards. And,
Play the cards.
We'll get them in there. So anyway, thank you so much. And again, thank you to Games Workshop for sending us this preview copy. And we'll see you on the next video. Take care.